What's up, crypto junkies? Welcome to another crypto news segment. Today we are really going to be catching up and filling in some of the gaps in the pieces from the last video. We covered so much on that, and I wanted to come back through and cover some of the smaller stories and some of the breakout stories that I'm noticing and share those with you here today. So first, let's headline hunt here. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink said the investment firm will not launch a crypto ETF until the industry itself becomes more quote-unquote legitimate. Okay, that coincides with apparently this guy Reggie Brown, who's dubbed as the godfather of ETFs, suggests that Bitcoin ETFs will not be approved anytime soon. I think this is great, personally. I know a lot of people disagree with me, but that's up to you guys. We'll save that conversation for another time, or if this is your first time tuning into the channel, just know that there's a big old explanation behind that. But last headline here is digital currency investment company Grayscale Investments, which also releases reports every quarter. These are very interesting reports. I just got my hands on this. I'm going to dive into it hopefully in the next 24 to 48 hours. And if I see anything relevant, then I'll do a video on it. But their year-to-date revenues are almost 330 million as of the third quarter of 2018. So that is really, really interesting because they're a big player in this and they're making money. So that's good to hear. Okay. Next, World CryptoCon is going on right now in Las Vegas at Aria. Apparently they had a Halloween party the other night at Omnia. Steve Aoki was DJ. I mean, they've got panels and they've got expo, they've got speakers, they've got all kinds of stuff going on with all the largest heavy hitters. All of your favorite OG crypto Twitter people are going to be there. They're all there. Everyone's been posting about it all day long for the last really 24 to 48 hours. So yeah, you can queue up on that on probably Twitter and Instagram, or if you're close to Vegas, you can head on out there and link up with them as that's wrapping up. We've got Vitalik coming out and essentially admitting what Charlie Lee admitted to, which is that Ethereum is too centralized around him. But he says it in a different way, is that it cannot fully succeed and step into its shoes until he steps away. And, you know, all lulls aside, this is very true. Maybe he didn't notice that when he first started it. Maybe he didn't care. Maybe he didn't have a choice to get it up off the ground and get it rolling. But now it's at this place, and I think he's said this a few times, and I know he's probably thought it for at least the last 6 months. How am I going to step away and not have it negatively affect Ethereum? He should not be the guy. He should just be like this visionary guy, maybe in the background, who is a Twitter personality and talks about it, and outside of that kind of keeps his mouth shut. That's what I personally think anyways. Charlie Lee has done a decent job with that, I think, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I fully agree with this, okay? Now, talking about Ethereum, let's talk Crypto Kitties. That's back, making its rounds in the news. Cute Cats powers serious $15 million funding for Crypto Kitty creators. Dapper Labs, the startup that spun out the parent firm Axiom Zen to continue working on Crypto Kitties, has secured $15 million in funding. That's good because it could be something. I mean, the whole Crypto Kitty phase lasted about 3 months, I think, and it went nuts when it first launched. I think it could do something. Let's see. Now they've got some more funding. It looks like they'll be able to at least move it forward, push the needle forward a little bit more. And let's see. Binance signs up 40,000 crypto traders in the first week in Uganda. You got to understand something. That's like giving, for those of you who haven't really traveled outside of America, you might not fully recognize and understand this, but when you give a emerging country a technology that's a quantum leap ahead of everything they're used to, and you skip all the generational gap of like, we had to learn how to use the 80s cell phone in the car, and then the big ass cinder block cell phone, and then it was a flip phone, and then it was and now it's an iPhone. When you literally just give someone an iPhone and they quantum leap that gap, what it does to society is insane. We've seen that time and time again happen throughout Asia. It's happening now with crypto. Crypto has that potential as well. You give the ability to send money instantaneously anywhere around the world without 18 pages of paperwork, without waiting 2 days to send it, without getting charged 10, 20, 50, hundreds of dollars to send the money, and also, most importantly, needing a bank account. When you eliminate all of that and you once again open up, like, this is very similar to the Hawala system, which is what most of developing Muslim countries use, which is a large portion of this 2.5 billion people that are unbanked around the world. They use this system. Crypto fits into the Hawala system perfectly, and the remittance system, and moving money back home to your family. Western Union and MoneyGram and all these other things that are just old, man. They're old and dated and slow and cumbersome, overly cumbersome. When you allow the whole society to take a quantum leap like this, it really changes things. So I'm really interested to see what this does. There's several emerging countries like this. I'm telling you, watch these countries over the next 2 to 5 years. Next piece of Binance. I thought this was really cool. It's just showing you all the integrations in a visual piece for the BNB coin, Binance coin itself. So it's now accepted on some travel sites. It's obviously used for discounted trading fees within the Binance platform itself, but they're branching out into other things. It's accepted in some of the gaming stuff, Visa, MasterCard, transferring POS systems like Pundi. They're a big up-and-comer that a lot of people are excited about. Loan services, ATMs, buying houses. I mean, yeah, it's cool. And this is like, I don't know, call me crazy, but this is like the obvious thing that very few people, very few exchanges do, but makes total sense, is if you want your exchange, if you want your coin to grow beyond its exchange and not just be used for discounted trading fees, if you want it to grow beyond that, you got to get integrated. You got to have people start to use it beyond the exchange itself. So the exchange could go away and the coin is still successful. That's what you want. The coin is essentially its own entity under the Binance structure, and it needs to be. This is good, you know, and obviously I'm a long-term holder of BNB. I got in at like, what was it, 350, I think the 350 range to about $5.60. And I've just been sitting on that since late last year. So it's something that I honestly like forget about. All right, next story. What's interesting is that we have a lot of people that were making predictions that are now backing those predictions off. So Arthur Hayes, he runs BitMEX, which is a derivatives leveraged platform, okay, crypto platform. He kind of went from saying 50,000 on Bitcoin to, with now the low volatility and volume trading, the bear market could persist for another 12 to 18 months. I will tell you right now that there are a ton of people that are accumulating, and I'll give you 2 specific examples right now, and I'll give you 5 examples right now. There's an article on this. I don't have that up for reference, but I will link it underneath the video. There are 5 wallets that somebody dug up that have accumulated anywhere between 11,000 and 55,000 Bitcoin in a period of just 4 weeks. That happened from the end of September to the last week of October. That is collectively about 133,000 Bitcoin. Those are whales, my friends. Those are whales. That's valued at 854 million-ish. Again, give or take a little bit. There are people that are accumulating right now. You got the banks accumulating patents on blockchain, and you got whales accumulating Bitcoin at the cheap. But yeah, I think that this is a little bit, like, this prediction makes sense with the current state of affairs. So yeah, I wanted to mention this. I talked about USDT, US dollar tether, securing Deltek, which is out of the Bahamas, in the last news video. Just look at the signature. I don't know what to say about that, but like, what a signature. And it's interesting that this like got leaked because, well, like, couldn't you duplicate this really easily? So I don't know. Nonetheless, I don't know. There's people commenting that it looks like it was like a forced signature, like the person was under duress, but there would be more breaks in the signature structure itself. If that is how they sign, then that's just a very interesting and odd signature, right? Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about on that. Next piece. I've talked about this a few times about these quote unquote peer-reviewed studies about the CO2 emissions required and used by Bitcoin as it continues to grow. And this is a great thread. Obviously this link will be with everything else underneath the video for you to research for yourself, but they assume it's linear when how the proof of work structure, how it works is that it's not linear like this. So they just assume that the accumulation keeps going up and never stops and is insanely stupid. And it's not like that at all. Where was the thing I wanted to reference? Yeah, okay, here it is right here. So misunderstands how Bitcoin scales. It assumes that the energy usage of proof of work grows linearly with the number of transactions, which simply isn't true. What's interesting about it is how now they're referencing this piece. This piece was like a blog post, but it's being referenced now as a study published in peer-reviewed journal Nature Climate Change. Now it's being taken and stretched so that the agenda can be framed correctly about just how bad Bitcoin, like, we thought it was bad, but it's this much worse in their kind of their rhetoric for Bitcoin usage, right? Which this is a big topic. Like, as much as oh man, like, look at the graph. It should be common sense that this is like bullshit. but it still requires explaining for whatever reason. This is a big topic because climate change is like a huge guilty piece that's used in politics now. And so everyone can be made to feel like about ourselves based on how much energy we're using, how much food we're wasting, and so on and so forth. And with the climate change and climate control initiatives going on right now, I think this is interesting that they're trying to attack Bitcoin like this. But this chart right here honestly should say everything you need to know. If you want to read more in depth about it and this quote unquote study, then check it out. I wanted to give this some showtime because I think it's important to talk about these deeper fundamental things that is being discussed around Bitcoin. The more people that understand it and can talk about it coherently, then the faster this rhetoric will just die and they'll stop trying. Last story. This is a little bit gold, a little bit Bitcoin. What's interesting is that the centralized banks in the last month or so have been accumulating more gold than over the last 3 years. Interesting enough, the United States itself actually is quite low on gold, but central banks, however, are not. So I guess the point with this is that you buy physical gold and they feel like they can control it. They feel like they have physical ownership of it. And Bitcoin, you're never going to have that. That's why there's such a fuss. That's why, who was it? Yellen came out and said, she doesn't like Bitcoin, the ex-Fed chair. You have everybody in and around the money space, centralized banking space that predominantly talk bad about Bitcoin. It's for good reason. They can't control it like they want to. And so it'll just continue to be a thorn in the ass of fiat and central banks. I just think it's interesting that they're massively accumulating, here's the chart up close, they're massively accumulating gold recently. We all know why they're accumulating gold. And interesting enough, like I mentioned in the last video, is you got people like JP Morgan now, who's a big custodian of gold, who are teaming up with blockchain initiatives to tokenize gold now. It's just another way to essentially stretch the total supply and circulating supply of a commodity like that. But with Bitcoin, unless they get ETFs to go through or some other kind of tokenized paper trading component, we will be sticking at 21 million. And we will stay there for the total supply of Bitcoin. I hope it really does. I say this all the time, but it's in banks' best interest to stretch circulating supply. That is their job. One of their jobs is to stretch out that circulating supply. Anyway, that's it, my friends. I want to leave you with this note. John McAfee talked earlier today, I think it was, and said that the sole intention of him running for the 2020 presidential campaign is to promote the awareness of cryptocurrency. So, like him or not, I think that is a great thing. And on that note, we will end it there, my friends. If this is your first time to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Click the bell notification, smash the like button, click the like button, whatever you're into. It shows so much support and really helps these videos get out. It means a lot to me. If you've got questions or want to share some feedback in the comments section, go ahead, drop that now. I'll give that a read through, as well as the other moderators, and we will hopefully be able to interact with you down in the comments section. Outside of that, be on the lookout for more videos dropping on the channel soon, my friends. Bye.